Hello, Stampers. Welcome to Learning with Friends. I am Pat Fairless, and I'm excited today. I have a really fun technique to share with you. At least I think it's fun. Um, if you are someone who really likes control and can project what the outcome is going to look like, then you might not like this technique because you really have to just sort of give it up and go with it. And it's only paper, right? So if we don't really like it, just get another piece of paper and try it again. But it's super easy and super fun. It is called Smackin Acetate. Even the name sounds like fun, doesn't it? Smackin Acetate. Sounds like something you'd want to do when you're having maybe a frustrating day. Smack something around a little bit, but we're not really smacking it. But that's what the name of it is. So we are going to go ahead and let's just get started. The good thing about this technique is you don't need a lot of supplies. You just need some cardstock. And I'm going to use just basic white. You could probably use watercolor paper. I did not try it with that. I'm not sure how it would turn out. I know it would work well with the old shimmery cardstock we used to have, but we don't have that anymore. So I'm just going to use plain basic white. We need some markers, and these are Stampin' Write markers. You do not want to use alcohol-based markers for these. You just want the water-based, regular Stampin' Write markers. And for the first demo, I'm going to demo this for you twice. But for the first one, I just picked 3 of the new in colors. Probably my 3 favorites. This one is Summer Splash, Pretty in Pink, and Petunia Pop. And it's a tie for me between these 2, which are my favorites. But lots of fun. And you need a piece of acetate. Now this is just our window sheets, as we call them. This is actually just one of the pieces that when you buy a photopolymer stamp set, your stamps come attached to this, and then you can take them off and put them into your case. And I like to use this because the size is perfect, and it works great, and it's free, right? It doesn't get ruined. You can use it over and over and over. So if you want to use your window sheets, don't worry about it. You can still use your window sheets for something else after that. But what we do is we start out and we just start scribbling different colors on our acetate. So your order doesn't matter. The colors you use, just pick colors you like. And you want to use your brush end and just kind of use the side of it and scribble. Okay, and so I'm just going to lay down some little bit of ink, and let's use the Summer Splash next. And if you blend it over top of each other, that's fine too. Doesn't matter. No right, no wrong. Don't even need it 100% covered. And now let's add some Pretty in Pink. A little harder to see on here, but it's there. And we're just going to scribble this on here. All right. Then the next step, that is step number 1. Step number 1 is done. We're going to take our Stampin' Spritzer and we're going to spritz some water on here. Now, I kind of like to lay down maybe a piece of paper towel just to help keep my work surface a little dry. Spritzing sometimes doesn't always go in the direction we want it to go. So if I put this down, it just helps keep the work surface dry, but that's up to you. And we're just going to spritz this. And here's where the experimentation might come in. The more water you put, the more stuff's going to run. You've heard me say that with many different techniques, and this is certainly true of this one. I'm going to show you 2 cards that I did using these 3 colors. One of them had less water and one had more water, and so you can see the difference. But you want to hold it maybe about 6 inches away and just kind of lightly spritz it until you see it somewhat start to move. You don't want it running all over, but you want it a little bit of movement on it. And then we are going to take and lift it up carefully. I try not to tip it because it will run, and just lay down my basic white cardstock. Flip it over and lay it on there and just rub it. And then I usually like to pick it up towards one side to just kind of keep it, if it does run, then it's gone to the one side. Now, let me show you this, and then I'll show you the card. So you need to let this dry before you can make your card with it, but you can just set it aside to dry. You may want to lay it under something because it does tend to curl, as you can see, because it's wet, and basic white cardstock does not handle wet real well. I also started with a 1/4 sheet of paper, so this is 5.5 by 4 1/4, and then I can cut this to size. That way, if I get some running along the edge that maybe I'm not crazy about, I can trim that off. Maybe you like that look. It doesn't really matter, but I just want to show you here, and then I'll show you the two cards. You can see I got more water on this side. This has actually turned out really well for demonstration. I got more water on this side when I spritzed, and you can see how it's more blended together. Even the Summer Splash and the Petunia Pop kind of blended here, and we got a little purple, which is pretty. There's less water over here, and you can see it's a little more speckled. All right, so let me show you those two cards that I did, because it took me a little bit of figuring how much water to spray. I still am not sure. This one was definitely drier, and you can see it's more speckled, and it's got some spots where you can see there was a little pooling, but I actually ended up really liking this. So again, you don't really have a great way to predict it, but this is the one that I sprayed, and it was drier. And then I did it again, and I added more water, and you can see, so let's just show you side by side how they look different. Less water, more water. So that kind of helps you decide what look do you like. Maybe on one card you like this look, and a different card you like this look. But other than that, these cards are basically the same. I did use different embossing folders, and I have different color die cuts. This one is done with Blackberry Bliss, and this one is done with black. I also had an old piece, and I don't know if you can see this, but this was actually some black glitter paper that I die cut. And the die is from this Thoughtful Journey stamp set. It's this particular die right here. Let me bring that in close. So extremely simple, easy card once you got your technique done. On the inside, because I did cut this down to 3 by, I think it's 5 7/8. I'd have to look for sure, but somewhere around there, around 3 inches wide. And as I said, I started out with 4 1/4. I did have some strips left, and depending on how you trim it, you may have a skinny little strip like this one, or you may have a little bit wider strip like this one. So, and here I had a couple other additional pieces that I just put on the envelope, and this one I embossed the envelope with the same textured paint that I had on the back. I got a cord hanging here. So those were the first two cards I was going to show you. I'm going to show you one more. Those were just scribbled at a diagonal. You can see I just scribbled these on here, kind of a little bit of a diagonal. The next one I'm going to use a little bit more planned scribbling, if you can call scribbling planned. I'm going to try to make a sky. And the 4 colors I'm using are Balmy Blue, Highland Heather, Gorgeous Grape, and Fresh Freesia. So I'm going to make a sky using these. And again, it just kind of comes down to where you want to scribble, where you want to start. So I'm going to start with the blue. I'm going to keep the blue. Most of the acetate's going to be blue here down on the bottom. So the bottom part of my, and this card is in landscape rather than portrait. So I'm just going to lay down some balmy blue. And then I'm going to come in with some different colors of purple. So we'll go with Fresh Freesia first and just kind of add maybe a little bit over here. You can see on here I'm not doing total stripes. I'm kind of going a little bit, and you might want to just say, oh, I want a little bit of blue up here. Let's add a little bit of blue up here. And maybe some Highland Heather over on this side. Oops, but we always want to use our brush side. So let's just add some Highland Heather around over here. And then I'm going to add some Gorgeous Grape across the top. And I'm kind of blending these in a little bit. And again, every one is going to look different, so don't really worry about where I'm putting it. We could even put a little down here if we want. And then we are going to spritz. So let me bring my paper towel back here and spritz this. And you can see just how quick and how easy this is. The longest process of it is letting it dry. And you can dry it with your heat tool if you want to expedite it. Just kind of, if you do that, mess with it a bit so that it's stays flat, because that does tend to want to make it curl as well. So all right, again, I have a quarter sheet of basic white. I have my 4 colors on here, and let's just flip it over and lay it on the cardstock. And you just kind of want to rub it a little bit to spread it around, pull it over, and pick it up. How easy. It couldn't be much easier than that, is it? But doesn't it make a pretty sky? Pretty colors? And it changes a little bit once it dries. I think when it dries, it looks a little smoother. This one I put more water, so they're pretty well blended, and you can see the colors blended together. But we've got the little purple down here, and then we put some blue back up above it. So let me show you that card. For this card, I used the stamp set. Let me find it here. I can't even remember what it's called. It's a bundle, I believe. Look for it here. Here we go. It's called In the Grove. And this it coordinates with the Grassy Grove bundle that we also had that was carryover, but this is a new one that coordinates with it. So these are the dies. I did not use any of the dies. I just used this mountain range here. So here is that card. And to make the mountains, my colors here, I have basic gray card base, and I stamped the mountains, inked up my stamp first with basic gray. I did stamp off, so it wasn't quite so dark. And then I took a sponge dauber and I took the Gorgeous Grape ink and just kind of on the stamp added a little bit of Gorgeous Grape along the peaks of the mountain and then stamped it on the cardstock. So I was really happy how that turned out. Added some birds from some retired stamp sets. Went through all my current stamp sets. None of them have birds. So these were just some carryover birds. It teaches us to hold on to certain things because you never know when you're going to want birds in the sky, right? So that is that card. I repeated a little bit of the mountain range down here with the same way I did this one, and then also added it on the envelope. So let me get this out of here. Now I have one more card I'll show you. I'm not going to demonstrate it for you, but let me show you the card. This card was made with the Full of Life. I used the dies in this case. I did use this stamp, and the dies. Love, love, love this paper. I finally just got it. I haven't had a chance to play with it. It was so pretty. I really bought it for the paper. But after I made my background, I thought, what can I do to just not really cover up the background too much? So I just used that heart die, which is this one right here. It makes a heart like this one here, which is Berry Burst. And then the friend is this background die and the spine one. So the white is kind of, I guess we call them a bubble. I don't know. And then this is the more detailed friend die. But this one I did with 4 different colors of ink and I just sort of made an ombre effect. So the colors that I used were, working from the top, was Pool Party, Coastal Cabana was next, Lost Lagoon, and Pretty Peacock. So aren't those pretty? So those are the cards for today's Smackin Acetate. We didn't really do too much smacking, but I think the smacking is when you push the water around to make your pattern, right? But isn't that fun? Super easy, super fun, and you never know how it's going to turn out. But if you don't like it, throw the piece away and try again. Maybe more water, less water. So let's go ahead and I hope you like that. I think it's fun. I like it. It's taught me to loosen up a little bit because I am a bit of a control freak, and I like things to be the way I want them to be and the way I have them pictured in my head. But sometimes it's more fun to just let it go and go with the flow, right? So I hope you like that. Thank you for watching today. I'm so glad you're here. If you enjoyed the video, would you give me a thumbs up? And I'd love to hear your comments. What do you think? Are you going to try it? That's always my most important thought in my mind. Main thing is, I'm like, are they going to try it? Because you don't need anything special as long as you got some Stampin' Right markers, some cardstock, and a little scrap of some kind of acetate and a spritzer of some sort. You can do that technique. So have fun, enjoy, have a great rest of the week. And thank you for joining. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.